Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you today. We have been working on this Williams Jubilee pinball for weeks, it seems like. We've been doing other stuff too, but we've been working on this pinball on and off, on and off. We've about got it all done. A lot of the cosmetics are done, but the thing still doesn't play. Or at least it doesn't play right. So we're going to do a video fixing it. So, I also have not put the chime box in it yet. It's sitting right there, patiently waiting. So we're not going to hear any bells and whistles yet, but we're going to play through the thing and figure out what's wrong with it, write it all down, and then figure out how to fix it. So when we last left the electronics, we had gotten to the point where it will reset the score reels, kind of. So I'm going to turn it on, we're going to see what she does, and then we're going to write down all of the issues that it has, and then we're going to look through the schematics and see if we can figure it out. So if you like this kind of video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and also give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you, right? I usually say that at the end, but half of the people that watch don't watch all the way to the end, so y'all don't hear me speak so eloquently at the end of all these videos. You've been missing out on so many good moments. Let me get something to write on. I'll get my famous notepad, and then we'll start playing through it. So I got our trusty notepad out. These are our buddies down the road in Gastonia. They always bring us by extra notepads. Look at that. I've had this one for a while. It's the 2019 calendar. He came in the other day and gave me some more new ones, but I haven't got to those yet. It'd be a tragedy if I used the 2020 ones and then in 2021 had to use the 2019 ones. I mean, I can't do that. I got to use them in order, right? Okay, so when you have issues, sometimes it's better to play through it and write them all down first, because then as you go through, some of them are connected together and it'll help you figure out what must be going on. Okay, so we're plugged in the wall. We're going to turn it on. I got turned it off. Turn it on. And then if you saw the one video on this particular one, we already fixed where the lights were always on. You hit this button, turns on the lights. Things starting to look pretty good, really. We had some problems with some of the light bulbs up here that I've worked on the sockets and got them looking pretty good. Now, one thing I see right off the bat that's an issue. Look over here. The game over light is on, but also the one ball and play light is on. I'm checking to make sure that we're not in the middle of the game. That shouldn't be like that. Whenever it's doing that, there's something going on there. So if we have more issues, that may have something to do with it. And one ball light is on. You're probably going to have trouble reading my chicken scratch, but oh well, people. Just deal with it. So that's our first thing. Everything's reset back to 0 because we were doing so much work in the back box and everything. So I'm going to try to start the game. I set it on free play when I messed with it before, so that's not an issue. So we'll see what that does. Just in this video, I'm going to talk about this little light here for you. We'll look this up too since we're messing with the schematics. I had somebody ask me, what is that little light for? Why in the world is there a little light there? Look, there's one there. This is a Bally instead of a Williams. Bally Night Rider. There is one there. This is a Stern Stars. It doesn't have one, but since it's a digital machine, it has the credit display on the back box. We got some other ones here too. I don't want to show you some of these yet though. Yeah, okay. I got a couple other Bally's sitting around that also have it. Why is that light there? Why does it light up? That is the credit light. So the reason that they have that is if that light is on, there is a credit on the machine. Now why do they need that whenever they have the credit reel in the back box? It's old gambling stuff. Like, a lot of these games were outlawed back in the day. I've talked about this before, and I could literally talk about it for an hour and a half, but I can't get all into it right now. But at certain points, the pinball machines became gambling devices, and they called them bingo machines and things like that. and you would play for a nickel a round, and you could win credits, and then you could at some locations cash out the credits for money. So the local authorities, not really understanding what the difference was between this game and this game and this game and this game, said, if in some states, in some areas, said, look, if you can win a free game on it, or if they can cash out blah 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 blah, it's illegal and you can't have those. So they made it where in some states, in some areas, it was illegal to show how many credits were on the game. Because if it said 10 credits on the game, I could go up to the guy running the place and say, hey, I won 10 games. And, you know, the bingos work a little different. On the bingos, you could win dozens of games in one game, right? But, hey, I won 10 games. I want to cash out. And they would hit a little button and give you your 50 cents. But the local authorities just couldn't have that, right? So they said, no. We can't have that. It can show that the game has been credited up, but it can't say how many's on it. That way they can't pay you for that, right? And so they came up with the credit light. So if the light is on, there is a credit on the game, which means that I can just hit start and the game will start. But this one I don't think works right yet, so we'll see if that happens. But that's what that is for. Now, since this one's on free play, that light will never go off unless it burns out. So I'm going to hit start and we'll see if anything happens. Okay, so see what's going on. All the scores are back to 0. Something in the back box just keeps clicking, and the score motor, I can hear it turning in the bottom, right? So that's our first error. So we are hearing the score reset relays in the back going off over and over and over again. So I'm going to write that down, and then we're going to look at that in the schematics real quick. I would, like I said, go through and play more of it and write more stuff down and then do it all at one time, but it won't even kick the ball out right now. So there is an issue. So we'll figure out why it's doing that. Okay, folks, so here are the schematics. Got a nice printed copy. So I checked in the back box and confirmed that there are 2 relays in the back box going crazy, and they just keep going and keep going. The score reels are just sitting there, not doing anything. So why is that happening? Those are the 2 score reset relays. Now keep in mind, many games do this differently. We are working on a Williams. So all of the Williams games from this era will have a similar setup, but the Gottlieb ones will be slightly different. The Bally ones will be slightly different. So if you look on the schematics, how could these possibly help us figure this out? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to look for what we know. Like, what do we know so far? We know that this 1-2 reset relay and this 3-4 reset relay keep turning on and off, on and off, on and off. That's what I'm seeing. That's the noise we're hearing. And we know that this score motor keeps running. Right? So these 3 right here just keep on going. Okay? Now, why is the score motor staying on? Right? It's because the score motor will stay on. Well, we're going to have trouble with the focus on this, I think. If any of these switches are on, the score motor will be connected to power on the transformer. So that side is always connected through this fuse. Right? So that side of the motor always has power. This side of the motor connects to the other side of the power over here through any of these switches. So if any of these switches are on, that motor will run. So the 25-cent relay, the 3 advance relay, the shooter relay, the coin relay, that's actually a switch on itself will hold itself on, right? So the score motor will keep itself on until this switch opens up on itself. That's how it stops at the same place every time. The coin relay will turn it on, the out-hole relay will turn it on, the bonus relay will turn it on, the 50-point relay will turn it on, and that's it, okay? So if any of those are running, it will just keep running. Now, why am I not seeing the reset relay on there? Shooter relay, coin relay, out-hole relay, bonus relay. It must be coming from over here. There's a switch on the reset relay. Right, all kinds of stuff. So, Look at my focus. So we know that that's staying on, and we know that the 1 to 2 reset relay and the 3 to 4 reset relay are staying on. So what turns off the 1 to 2 reset relay and the 3 to 4 reset relay, right? Well, the reason that they're firing over and over and over again is because they're on the impulse cam of the score motor. So as the score motor turns, it connects this line to that line and powers both of those relays, and that's exactly what's going on. So there's two different switches on the impulse relay, on the impulse cam of the score motor that are making it do that. So how does that get power? Well, you're working back this way. It gets power through the reset relay. So if the reset relay is closed, see how there's two lines with no dash through it? That means normally open. So when it's not energized, when the power's off, that's normally open. But if that relay is closed, it's sending power up here, and then the impulse relay, as the score motor turns, is sending power to those. That's what's making it click, 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 click. So the reset relay must be on or the switch is stuck. But since we're starting the game, and that involves the reset relay, obviously there's an issue there. All right, so through the reset relay, and then through the drum unit 0 position brake switches. All right, then it says 16. So on each score reel, there is a switch. There's 16 of them. When the drum gets back to 0, those switches open up. And so as long as one of those is closed, right, power will connect from here through whatever one of those 16 switches is closed, or all 16 of them, right, through them, through the reset relay, which is closed, up to here, through the impulse as the score motor turns around, and make those click, 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 click. So what is the easiest explanation? One of those drum units must not be getting to 0, right? So since one of those isn't dropping to 0, that must be our deal. But then we also have this situation where the reset relay is held in. So we need to figure out what makes the reset relay turn off. Let me see if I can find it on here. It wasn't hard to find the reset relay. It's right next to the 1-2 reset relay and the 3-4 reset relay, and it's powered by the same exact power. So the way that turns off is, see, what's going on is everything's starting and it's pulling the reset relay in, which is holding itself in, and it will continue to do that until all of these drum unit 0 position brake switches open up. So all 16 of those have to be open at 0 for that to kill the power through here to the reset relay. So that's what we need to look at first. We need to see if one of those drum units isn't getting back to 0, or when it's at 0, if it's not opening up. So we're going to look at the color of the wires. This wire down here is yellow, and then it goes to a blue wire with a brown trace. So we're going to go find that in the machine on each score drum unit, and we're going to pull them all out one at a time until I find the one that's still connected, even though they're all at 0. Okay, folks, I looked at all 16 score reels, and it's the top switch on each score reel. None of them are misadjusted, which makes sense because I just went through them all anyway. So I was hoping I missed something, but I did not. So when I take my multimeter and I check, it checks as if they are connected, right? Like one of them shut. If you look, where are we at? So we're right here. If you check this wire, the yellow wire, to this wire on the switch on any of them, it says it's connected. Because if any one of these 16 were connected, it would be connected, but they're not. So what could cause that? It could be a shorted wire or something like that. Remember, we replaced all those wires on the in the cabinet. Dun dun dun. Hopefully it won't be one of those. But if you look, if one of these other two ways of getting power was also getting power, it would do the exact same thing. So it could be either one, right? So we're going to and what I did was I unplugged the back box, and it was no longer shorted. which could still be one of the wires we replaced. Doo-dee-doo-doo-doo-dee-doo. Okay, so we're going to check that. But there are two other ways for it to get power. It could be the bonus relay. Has a switch on it. I looked at that, and it's not connected. And the bonus relay never comes on because the bonus relay comes on whenever the game resets to reset the bonus unit. Well, it's reset all the way. The only thing that's still running are these two reset relays and the reset relay, right? So it's got to, one of these three power sources has to be still giving it power. And I'm thinking it's this index switch. So on index E, there's a switch that's yellow and blue and brown that also sends power up there, right? So here is the schematics of the score motor. It's also on the thing. And the different cams are called different things. Impulse forward, the impulse cam, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the index cam. Switch E on the index cam is the top switch. I'll show you all this here in a minute. Which is the reset relay lock switch. That's what we're looking at. Right? So it's the yellow wire and the blue and brown wire. So there's a switch here that as this turns around, whenever it lands in this valley, it should open up that switch. The top switch should open as it lands in that valley. So, back to the play field, trying to look at that. Let me go show you what we figured out. Okay, when you're troubleshooting this particular game, there is an issue with this thing in the middle. When you lift the playfield, it makes all of the balls that are in the middle on these switches slide back here to these switches, which are the ones that score and stuff. So if you lift the playfield, the balls go back here and the bonus unit locks on, which can burn up the coil on the bonus unit and everything else. So if you're going to be doing a lot of lifting the playfield while it's turned on, you kind of need to take those balls out so they don't roll around all over the place. So they're over there waiting for us, right? So that cam that we're talking about is right there. It's the first one, right? And it's the top switch on that cam. Okay, so let's see if it's an intermittent thing or if it's still going to do it. We'll try to do it and reset it again. Okay, so it's still running, right? The bonus unit is not coming on because you don't hear the bonus unit that's up here on the bottom of the playfield clicking. It's just those two reset relays. Okay, our next clue is if you kick the ball out, or if you take the ball out of the playfield, score motor stops. Alright, so we're gonna, and so now we're at ball 1. Flippers are working, which is the surefire sign that you are in gameplay. Okay, so if the ball comes out of the out hole, score motor stops. So what's going on is it's trying to shoot the ball out of the out hole and it's not being able to. So we need to figure out what that deal is. We're getting farther along. So I have figured out now, right, that if the ball is out of the shooter lane, is out of the out hole, it will do its thing. So we're still in our game over in our 1. You hit start. Sometimes it just goes to game over. Now this is with the ball out of the out hole. Sometimes it will start a game, right? But as soon as the ball lands in the out hole, it ends the game. The ball in play 1 light over there is actually always lit if you're on ball number 1. It doesn't turn off. The only thing that turns it off is a tilt. Okay, so something is making the thing immediately go into game over if the ball hits the out hole switch. So we got to figure out why that is. It must think it's the last ball or something. I don't know. Okay, folks, I said way back in my first video when I was working on all of these wires that got cut that some of them are the same color. And should I trust that the guy put the right ones back together? Okay? So as I look, I see two that are blue with a yellow stripe. There's one there, and there's one there. Right? And I see one that's blue with a red stripe right there. And there's a blue with a black. There's a blue with, I guess that's a brown. And then over here is another blue with a red. So there are two that are blue with a red stripe that are identical. They look exactly the same. I'm trying to decide if there's more than two. Right? You see where this is going, right? We're looking. I only see two. Okay, let's look at the schematics. So when the game starts, it immediately trips the game over relay. Or sometimes it'll hold on until you hit a score or something, and then the score motor turns and trips the game over relay. Look what color the wire is that goes to the game over relay. It's blue and red. And see the little 4 next to it? That means there's at least 4 wires. That's the 4th wire in the game that is the exact same color. Okay? Now, this blue and red wire runs over here, and it runs to the player unit 0 break switch. The player unit is in the back box. The game over relay is in the cabinet in the bottom. So there is a blue and red wire that trips the game over relay that runs from the 0 break switch in the player unit. Alright, connects down to here. So the other side of the player unit 0 break switch is blue and yellow, the 5th one of that color. And it connects down here through the coin relay. So the reason it does that is so that if you put a coin in, it pulls in this switch, which sends power up. And if the player unit is not on 0, so if it's past the first player's first ball, basically, this will close after it gets off the home position. So it would send power through and trip the game over relay so that it restarts the game when you put a coin in if somebody has already played part of the game. So you understand what I'm saying? So if you put in a quarter, let's say a quarter, I don't know what coin it is, but you put in a quarter, it starts a 1-player game, and then you want to play a 2-player game, you put in a second quarter. Well, if you haven't done anything, that player unit is still the 0 position. The switch is still broken. Also, the ball count 0 position unit, but that's in the bottom of the cabinet. We don't have to worry about that. So this player unit gets a blue and yellow wire to it, and then a blue and red wire comes out of it and goes down to the game over relay. That's how it's supposed to be. But there are more than one blue and yellow and more than one blue and red. Okay. So if you go over here, the same player unit that's in the back box has a wire that comes up from here. So the out hole relay, the extra ball relay, the ball index relay sends power over to this motor switch in the bottom of the cabinet. And then it sends power up into the cabinet to the player unit on another blue and red line. And then the blue and red line not only feeds the player unit, which is in the back box, but it goes down to the coin unit, which is down in the cabinet again. So you've got a blue and red wire here attached to the coin unit. And attached to the score motor. Okay? So when you start the game, the score motor is moving, which means that switch is going to close eventually, which would send power through that blue and red line. Now, if I was to have that blue and red line hooked into the wrong thing, my brother Donnie's calling me. If I hooked it wrong, it might, at a certain point, send power over here to this blue and red line if I've got it hooked to the wrong one, which is directly connected to the game over relay, right? So I'm going to swap the two blue and red wires and see if that fixes it. I think he's got them backwards, but you can't really tell. Everything's bundled up. You can't really tell what's going to what, you know. I'd have to take the whole loom apart. I guess I could use a multimeter. Maybe I'll multimeter it a little bit. I think the two wires are backwards. That's what I think. Okay, folks, another hour and a half has went by. Now, I can't film everything I'm doing because it's boring. So I got to tell you what I did instead of show you 30 minutes of me going, I wonder what this does. Let's touch this. No, that's not right. What color was it? Let me go back. Right? So I know we're not showing too much of it, but it's because I haven't found anything. But I have found one thing. I want to show you something. I used the multimeter on the actual Jones plugs. Right? So there's two blue and red pins on the Jones plugs that are running to the top. We figured that out, right? So they're both connected where they should be. The guy did not mess up the blue and red wires. So it was a great theory, but I was wrong. So I'd like to apologize to him. He did a really good job of getting the blue and red wires together. So we'll see what the real problem is, right? Let me show you something else I found. I was thinking, you know, that's got to be it. Hot damn it, unfound it. But I couldn't quite figure out why connecting the blue and red to the wrong blue and red would make it go to the game over thing, right? I couldn't quite get my mind around it. And then I noticed that the blue and red also connects to the 3 and 5 ball adjustment jack. Now, I haven't watched the videos like you guys have because I've forgotten a bunch of what I put in the videos. But didn't I play it or something? Didn't I already shoot the ball or something? I can't remember if I did that earlier or not. But I thought I already played this game a little bit and it was doing more than it's doing now. So I couldn't figure it out. And then I saw this, the blue and the red connects. So this wire comes up, and depending on where you put the adjustment jack, it changes it from when the ball count unit gets to position 3, which is ball 3, it connects this wire to this wire if you're in the 3 adjustment, which trips the game over relay. Or if you're plugged into the 5 adjustment, it doesn't. It's not connected to anything. So you set it on 5, you just plug it in, it doesn't actually connect to anything. But whenever the ball count unit gets up to here, there is a wire here that's blue and red that trips the game over relay. So that's how the ball count unit, when it gets to 3, 4, see they've got 3 and 4 tied together just in case it screws up, I guess. But it's how it knows if it should trip at 3 or 5, the game over, right? But remember, ours is always on 1. So I looked over here, and ball and play light 1, if the ball count unit is in that position, that light will always be on unless the tilt relay clicks. There's nothing to turn it off, right? So the way you get that light to go off is you count all the way up to, I guess past 5 it'll do it or something. I don't know. Maybe it never goes off. Whatever. So, but we know we're in position 1. We're not in position 3. We're not in position 4. And we're not in position 5. So that can't possibly be tripping it. Okay? But look at this. Game over relay trip wire. The ball count unit is in the bottom of the playfield, and the wire coming up for the 3 thing is blue and brown, and there's 4 of them, right? Blue and brown. Well, if I did play it earlier, I set it on 3 ball whenever I did the back box, because the adjustment jack is in the back box, and I remember moving it from 5 to 3. Now it don't play. Right? So I went back and looked at the blue and the red, and that is, the jack is a blue and red wire, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's connected to the right spots on the Jones plugs and the female part of the Jones plug. So there is a blue and brown wire that comes from the bottom up to the top to the adjustment jack. Alright, we got to brighten this up. This is going to be our thumbnail. Now, you guys saw the thumbnail when you clicked it, but did you really look at the thumbnail? So that is a blue and brown wire connected to a blue and orange wire. And this is a blue and orange wire connected to a blue and brown wire. Why in the world would they do me like that? First Williams did me like that, and then the jackass that worked on this game did me like that. Okay, folks, I've calmed down a little bit. So it's not really the guy's fault, right? It's whoever cut the head off the machine's fault. Somebody was making the point that the guy that cut the head off the machine may have not been the guy that taped all of the wires together. I understand. So I'd like to apologize again. The guy did get the blue and red wires right, but he got the blue and brown ones wrong, and the blue and orange ones wrong. And then I came along behind him, and all I did was take his wires and just change the connector. I didn't swap any of them or anything. So, as I look around, I think what's going on is that one that's blue and orange, it looks a lot like blue and brown. So it's really similar. So, I mean, it's really hard to tell it apart. But here's the deal, okay? Let me show you what the 2 blue and brown ones I found go to. Remember earlier in the video when I could not figure it out and I was saying, damn, it doesn't make any sense. What's going on? Maybe if we wrote more things down, they're all related. But I can't because it's not even starting the game. Remember all that, right? Let's go back where we was. The 1 and 2 reset relay and the 3 and 4 score reset relays are in the back box. Okay? They get pulsed by an impulse thing in the bottom of the cabinet. Right? Okay. And then how do they get their signal? They get it through the reset relay and then through these drum unit 0 position brake switches that we were looking at first, right? And I said, damn, it's like they're connected, but they're not connected. It's a blue and brown wire. So there is a blue and brown wire that comes from the reset relay in the bottom of the cabinet up into the cabinet and connects to the drum unit 0 position brake switches, all 16 of them. And then a wire that comes back down that's yellow that connects to the yellow wire in the bottom of the cabinet. Okay? So this must be the other wire that looks weird, that we can't figure, that looks like blue and orange or whatever, right? So this is complex to even understand, but yellow, a ground, is coming up into the cabinet, right? And then going to the switch on all 16 of the switches on the drum units. And then there is a blue and brown wire coming off of the drum units that's going back down into the cabinet about right here. When it does that, it's going to the wrong switch. It's connected to the wrong wire, I mean. So that wire right there is now connecting, since it's backwards, to this wire that is coming from the ball count unit, blue and brown, up into the top of the cabinet. So about right here, we've got that wire off of the drum units that are all open connecting to here. It doesn't do anything, right? Now I've got this wire connected where this one is supposed to go. So this is cut about right here, but notice how they're all tied together. So it's also tied to the bonus relay, which is actually on the, I believe on the playfield. But it's also connected to that index that we were looking at, index switch. That's why whenever it goes up, we're seeing sparks and everything. It's because this power, so power is coming through here. This is yellow. It's coming through here, and then through the switch, right? And we're getting all of this. The reset relay must be doing its thing and everything. Then it's circling around, and instead of going up to the drum units, it's plugged into the wrong wire in the head, and it doesn't connect to the switches on the drum units. So we got ground, right? This is neutral basically. It's AC. Coming up into the head, and then it doesn't go here to where it's supposed to. It goes here, because these wires are swapped. So now I've got ground through the plug to here to the 3 to 5 ball adjustment jack. I changed it over to 3, which plugged it right into the game over relay. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. You can see here how the wires are actually completely different, but they are both technically blue with brown. Just slightly different though. They just look like one of them looks more orange than the other one. Crazy. All right, so I'll swap them if I haven't got them confused, and we'll try it. Okay, folks, I swapped the 2 wires. I put heat shrink on it, plugged them back in. Now let's see what we get. Lights are still turning on. We still got the 1 ball game over thing, but we're hoping that now it will actually start a game. Is there any better sound in the world than that? Whew. It doesn't say game over yet. Remember, there's no chimes in it yet. Oh hell, ball 2. Wow, I think we fixed it. Now, I'm sure there are many other things screwed up that I don't know about yet. Like, for instance, the 3rd ball and play light's not working. But we are scoring. But this one was a lot of trouble. I don't have the balls in the middle yet either. I guess it didn't score that last time, so it didn't take the ball away from me. Game over after 3 balls. It was 4 balls, but I think at 1 I didn't score anything. But this took so much time just figuring out why the thing wouldn't start. And it was such an interesting fix that I figured it could do its own video. So we'll do another video where we do the chimes and we do all the schematic stuff for whatever else is broke on it. And that'll be tomorrow's video. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it and for sticking with it till we figured it out. Isn't that the best part about it? If you can't figure one out, folks, just let it sit for a while and go back to it. You'll figure it out eventually. It's always something. So leave your comments. Let us know what you think. We'd like to thank everybody for using our Amazon links. People bought all kinds of stuff for Christmas. Boy, that was pretty cool of y'all. So if you don't know how that works, there's a link down below to Amazon. If you're going to go to Amazon anyway, it will give us a little tip for anything you buy on Amazon because we sent you there. So thank you to everybody that's been doing that. And also make sure to check out my brother's channel, My Brother Donnie. He can be your brother too. I already asked him. He said that was cool. So go check out my brother Donnie. He's literally my brother. He's always doing something crazy. Recently we bought this little tiny building. It's an old dilapidated building and it was not expensive, but we did buy a building that used to be an old grocery store, little tiny one. And we've been fixing it up, and we're going to rent it out. And so we've been doing that over there. That's pretty fun. If you like seeing old things fixed up, you might like that channel too. Donnie's pretty wild and crazy. That's another thing I want to mention. Whenever I'm going on and on about the guy, I'm just having a good time and playing around people. I'm not really mad, right? It's, you know, every game has problems with it. But what I want to say is, the guy tried at least, right? Now, I think they're probably right. Somebody cut the head off, probably sold it to somebody else, and then the other person tried to put it back together. Didn't get it because he missed one freaking wire. Of course, there might be more, but we'll figure that out in the next video, I guess. But at least the guy tried, right? Don't give up. If you've got something like this you're working on, you can figure it out eventually. I didn't figure it out because I'm a genius. I figured it out because I keep freaking working on it. Just keep at it, and you'll get it. You'll figure it out. And it does all make sense once you figure it out. None of it made sense at first, right? We're going, what the world? Man, it makes no sense. Why would it do that? That's crazy. I don't understand. It should be this, but it's not. What in the world? And then finally we figured out what it was, and it all made sense. Both of the problems were the same thing, right? So just keep at it, and you might be able to find an old beat-up game near you and fix it up. That's what I'm hoping these videos will inspire people to do. People have asked us, oh, are you going to lose business because people will figure out how to work on a pinball machine? Believe me, we got plenty of business. There's only a couple. There's me and Joe. We're working as hard as we can fixing the stuff we've got and the repairs people are bringing us. So if you can find one near you, buy it and try to fix it. I hope people do so that we can save more of them. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think, and we will see you on the next video tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed it.